Okay, in the previous video, we talked about how we are going to represent an algorithm. We discussed notation uh, and we looked at one small example. Now let's do one more example to practice. Okay, and in this example, you will actually write the algorithm on your own. Okay, so if you haven't got pen paper, please get pen and paper, and then we will start. Okay, so let's look at the problem description. Okay, so here is the problem description in simple English. Okay, and that's how most of the time you will get the problem description in the real world. People would come and they would describe what they want in simple English or in simple natural language, and it is our job to interpret that and then code it. Okay, so let's see what is the problem given. Okay, so consider the following algorithm. uh, as input, it receives two arrays, A and B. Okay, size of each array is described in the property len of the array. The algorithm swaps numbers from both the arrays while maintaining the relative position of the numbers. If one of the arrays is longer than the other, then those extra numbers are not swapped. Okay. So we are going to get two arrays. We are supposed to exchange the numbers, and if one of them is longer, we should not touch the rest of the numbers. Okay. So let's look at the given examples of input and output. Okay. So example 1, we have array A with 4 elements, array B with 3 elements, and if you notice in the output, all the 3 elements of B are copied into A, and first 3 elements of A are copied into B. The fourth element of A is not touched. In example 2, we have array A with 2 elements and array B with 4 elements. In output, array A has 2 elements, and those are the first 2 elements from B, and first 2 elements of A are copied into B, and the last 2 elements of B, they are not touched. Okay, so that's what is expected from our algorithm. Okay, so now I will give you a break of 1 minute to think over a part of the algorithm. So I will give you a minute's time to think about just the name of the algorithm and how you are going to represent the input. Okay, so start. Okay, hopefully you have thought about the name. So while looking at the description of this algorithm, the appropriate name that I can think of is this. It's something that is exchanging numbers. So I'll just call this algorithm, say, exchange numbers. So if you remember, that's how we write names. Exchange numbers, and then in parentheses we are going to have the input. Okay, so input is going to be A and B, and then we are going to have the open braces to indicate start of the block. Okay, and now I will give you some more time to think about, well, what things do we require. Okay, I think we require first thing to know that what is the length of the shorter array. Okay, that's the thing that we require. Okay, so I'll give you some time to think about how we can represent this operation. So basically what we will need is we will need to extract the length property of both the arrays, and out of that we have to choose the smaller value. Okay, so I'll wait for a while for you to write. So here is how I would do it. Okay, so I would define a variable called minimum length, so I'll call it min length, and by default I will initialize it with the length of A. Okay, and then I will check. First of all, you should know that I am one tab inside. Okay, just to indicate that within this I have this particular block. Okay, and now I'll check if the length of array B is less than the current minimum length that I have. This is a conditional. Okay, so I'm going to put opening braces, I'm going to move one tab inside, and I'm going to write here what would I do in that case. The minimum length should be equal to the length of B. Okay, and that's where I complete my conditional block. So at the end of this I would know what is the length of the shorter array, and then what should I do. Okay, so again I will give you some time. Now what we have to do is we have to go through both the arrays one by one, and then we have to exchange the numbers. Okay, so I'll give you some time to think what should we do next. So here is one clue. We will require a looping construct because we have to go through multiple entries. Okay, so if we have to go through a looping construct, we will need some variable to keep track of where we are in the loop. Okay, so I'm going to use a looping construct for. We discussed two looping constructs if you remember, for and while. Okay, so let's go with the for. Okay, so I'm going to say that for, and then first part is the initialization condition. So I'll define a variable called say current, and I'll initialize it to 0, and then I'll say that my condition is that this current should always be less than the minimum length. Okay, fine. And then I'm going to define a bookkeeping operation that I have to perform every time after I complete the block. So let's talk about that when we write our block. Okay, so now I have my opening braces. I'm going to move one tab inside. Okay, and what will I do? Well, I will access a particular element of A and shift it into B. But for shifting, I would need a temporary place to hold those numbers. Okay, so I would define a variable, let's call it say temporary temp, and within that I will copy an element of A, the current element that we are accessing from A. Now I have copied that into that variable temporary. So what I will do is now in A I would copy the corresponding number from B. Okay, so that's how I would swap the numbers. But now inside B, the current element, I have to put back the value from A. Okay, and that's all that I have to do. Okay, so I will finish my block here with closing curly braces. But once I finish executing the block, I have to go and do certain bookkeeping operation, and that operation is that I should move to the next element in both A and B. So what I should do is I should say that my current should be equal to the current plus 1. Okay, that's what I need to do, and this will go on till I reach the minimum length. Okay, and once I finish that, I would just return. Okay, and then I will have the closing braces. Okay, so that's my exchange number function, and let's see how it works for the example that we have. Okay, so let's look at this input. We won't have time for both the examples, so let's do just first input. Okay, so input 1 is A is 2597. Okay, so we have A which is 2, 5, 9 and 7. Okay, and then what do we have? Then we have B which is 20, 10 and 15. Okay, so B is 20, 10 and 15. Okay, let's verify if we have copied the numbers correctly. 2, 5, 9, 7, 20, 10 and 15. Okay, and now let's execute this algorithm for this particular input, and then let's see what happens. So now we come to exchange numbers algorithm with A and B, and now the minimum length is going to be A dot length. A has 4 numbers, so min length will be currently 4. And then we'll come to the conditional block and we'll ask question if B dot length, which is 3, is less than 4, that is true. So condition is satisfied. We come inside the conditional block, and now minimum length will be set to 3. So now the min length is set to 3, and then we are out of the conditional block, and then we come to our loop. Okay, so now current is set to 0, that's the initialization. It will be executed only once. Then we go and check the condition, and once the condition is satisfied, we execute the whole block, and when the block is executed, we go and do the bookkeeping operation, and once the bookkeeping operation is done, we go and check the condition again, and once the condition is checked, we go back and execute the block. Okay, so now let's see what happens for this particular input. So we will come here with current value equal to 0. Is current less than the minimum length? Minimum length is 3, so we are fine. So we'll come and set temporary equal to current value of A, which is 2. Okay, so I'll keep track of the variable temp. Okay, here, so temp is currently set to 2 after I finish execution of this statement, and then A dot curve will be A current will be B current, so the value 20 is copied into A, so now it is overwritten, it becomes 20, and then the value of temp is copied into B, and this becomes just 2. Okay, so effectively we have swapped the numbers of A and B at position 0. Okay, once we finish this block, we'll go to the conditional statement. We'll increment the value of current by 1. So I'll also keep track of the variable current. It was initially 0. Now we have executed the bookkeeping operation, and now it will become 1. And then we'll go and check the condition. Okay, so is my current, which is 1, less than minimum length, which is 3? Yes, it is true. So I'll go inside and I'll execute it. And this time what will happen is my temp will be set to now 5, and then 5 will become 10, and then 10 will become 5 after I execute these 3 statements. And then again we'll come back to bookkeeping operation, and this will now become 2. We'll ask question, is 2 less than 3? Yes, it is true. So we'll come inside, and now temp will be set to 9, and then 9 will be replaced by 15, and then 15 will be replaced by 9. Okay, that's what will happen when we come to the end of this block. Now we'll go to the bookkeeping operation, and now current will be set to 3, and now we go and check if current is less than the minimum length, and that is not true. Okay, so now we will break out of this looping construct and come to the last statement, and that's where we have the return statement. We will return. Okay, and let's see if the output that we have generated is same as what we wanted. Okay, 20, 10, 15, 7, 20, 10, 15, 7, and then 259. Is it correct? It's 259. Okay, so we have got the required output. Remember, if we get correct output for one particular input, it does not mean that our algorithm is correct. Okay, in the real world, it is difficult to prove the correctness of your code every time. So the practical way out in real world most of the time is that you write many test cases, and then you ensure that your code works well for those test cases. But still remember, that is not the guarantee for the correctness of your code. Okay, so that's about the example for algorithm writing. Do practice more examples on your own, and from the next video we will talk about algorithm analysis and performance evaluation.